Bienvenue sur ma chaîne Immobilier 101 avec Christopher Salador où je partage avec vous trucs, astuces et stratégies gagnantes en immobilier, immobilier commercial, business, mindset et aussi on parle de cash, on parle de finances. Alors si ce sont des sujets qui t'intéressent, considère à t'inscrire à ma chaîne dès maintenant. Petite vidéo exclusive dans le fond, cette vidéo-là, j'ai repris le podcast où j'avais été invité sur le podcast de Axel Monsaingeon, justement un Français qui a émigré au Québec et qui fait de l'investissement immobilier commercial. Il fait des projets, mais aussi il a un podcast. Il a justement une chaîne YouTube où est-ce qu'il partage comme moi des trucs et astuces en immobilier. Et la langue de son podcast est en anglais. Donc, j'ai une question à vous poser. Qu'est-ce que ça vous dirait si je créais aussi conjointement du contenu en anglais? J'aimerais ça. Laissez-moi savoir vos commentaires plus bas. Et aussi, je vous partage cette vidéo-là. Dites-moi qu'est-ce que vous en pensez en anglais parce que c'est sûr que l'anglais n'est pas ma langue première. Et aussi, ma chaîne YouTube, je l'ai débutée justement en français. Mais on s'entend... Le but de partager l'information, le but de partager des trucs et astuces et de rejoindre le plus de gens possible. Alors, dites-moi dans les commentaires, est-ce que je devrais faire certains sujets, reprendre des sujets que vous aimez, qui sont intéressants et les reprendre en anglais? Laissez-moi savoir dans les commentaires. Et justement, sans plus tarder, rentrons dans le vif du sujet dans un instant. That the people that are listening to your show should really act upon is go to networking event. Even if you don't feel like it, you don't want to go because what happened to me, it opened my eyes to all the possibilities and opportunities that there are out there.
Hello, and welcome back to the Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. And today, as you can see, it's a different studio. It is a pleasure and an honor to actually be in my friend Chris's studio.
Yes, better call Chris.
Better call Chris. Christopher Salador, a commercial real estate broker here, and you serve the Montreal region. And I can't wait to get into your story. I have a few questions for you. And before we do, I just want to remind everyone, thank you for following the show. Share this episode with a friend who could benefit from this conversation, as they will be able to learn from it and go further in their real estate investing goals. So, Christopher, you focus on the Montreal market, but before we even get there, how in the world did you get started in real estate investing?
It's funny because I got into real estate not knowing what the hell I was putting myself into.
Like most of us.
Yes, exactly. Because before owning a property, I was 27 years old. I had my daughter. She had 3 years old. Je vous arrête un petit instant. Si vous désirez vendre, acheter ou investir en immobilier, allez dans la description dans le bas de cette vidéo. Vous allez pouvoir cliquer sur un lien pour réserver une consultation avec votre cher et l'unique Better Call Chris, où est-ce que je vais pouvoir répondre à toutes vos questions. On va pouvoir regarder votre situation, mais encore mieux, on va pouvoir élaborer un plan d'action qui va vous permettre, te permettre de soit vendre, acheter ou encore mieux, investir en immobilier. Alors si tu désires passer à l'action et te lancer dans le monde de l'investissement immobilier, va dans la description et clique sur le lien dès maintenant. De retour à la vidéo. And I went into the university and I was there and I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna wait 5 years, dedicated myself. I needed money now.
Yeah.
So I quit with a bunch of other stuff that I studied and quit. And I went back to the schools program and I see, okay, if I become a real estate broker, I could have my license in 3 months around that. I could be in the field and start making money. Okay, you know what? Boom, I choose that.
Nice.
I never did one transaction. I didn't know what a notary was, what a certificate of localization was. The hell is that for?
Yeah.
So that's how I get myself into real estate. And funny as it is, that was back in 2010.
funny as it is, with the little networking that I did, I stumbled upon a guy who was doing mortgages back then, and he was kind of my mentor at that stage. So because when you start in real estate, especially as a real estate broker, any deal, any transaction that you could do, you're going to take them all.
Yeah.
So as funny as it is, he got me into a brand new construction project back in how you call that, Belleuil.
Okay.
And he was with a condo. It's funny because you started with a condo,
yeah,
as you were telling me. And well, I was finding clients for him, and one time I was living in his office, and he was like, "Chris, why don't you buy one?" I was like, "Oh, well, blah blah blah. I don't think my credit is gonna pass." And he was like, "Well, why don't we try?"
Yeah.
And it started from there. But you know what? To make a long story short, it was the worst deal transaction I ever did, because everything that the contractor, the builder promised me that, oh, you won't have a problem to lease, blah, 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 this and that. Oh my gosh, it was the worst experience ever, because my mortgages was, I just started in real estate.
Yeah.
I didn't check any comparables.
Okay.
I didn't check how much the average the rent was. And they told me, oh, you could lease this at whatever amount, blah, blah, blah. You won't have any problem. But little did I know, as soon as I went to the notary and I see my mortgage's payment, they were going at, my mortgage was $1,295. Okay. But the maximum I was able to rent that condo, that 4.5, was $925.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have no money.
Yeah.
I was putting out money out of my pocket. But finally, a couple of years after that, I was able to get out of that situation. But like the great Steve Jobs said, it was the worst medicine to swallow. But you know what? It was the best. It was exactly what the patient needed.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing this story, because it's courage to share the difficult deals that we did. But the thing is that the worst deal is often the best learning experience.
Exactly.
Because it showed you exactly what not to do.
Exactly.
And so, hey, if you start like that, you learn the hard way. There's no, I was going to say, better method than doing it yourself. And then you learn maybe how to underwrite and to see, like, does this deal make sense? So congratulations to you, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Ah.
And for real, other than getting the knowledge for myself, it helped me so much around the business too, because now with clients coming to me, because for sure they give me a kickback.
Yeah.
So that's the incentive that got me into that deal also. But when clients come to me and they were like, oh, Chris, do you have an opportunity without me putting no down payment and having a kickback? I was like, hell to the no.
Yeah.
Like, don't get in that.
Don't do that.
So it gave me the knowledge, the skills that helped me through my business too.
Yeah. And it just shows, like, we are all influenceable by other people, and we need to learn how to underwrite. We need to look at a deal and any transaction and look at the numbers and say, does it make sense in the long run? And some people say, I won't get into a deal unless I make 12%. And some people say, I won't get into a deal until I make 7%. That's according to our preferences, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after this fabulous learning experience, so by that point, you already had your broker's license. Where did you go next?
Selling homes, helping families. And I bought back the family home a couple years later, because I wanted to flip it and build equity and stuff like that, because it was sitting there doing nothing.
Okay.
And also that I got myself into a triplex, which I own now. And that's for now. But now, 2024, now we're 10xing everything.
Yeah.
Big time, because I have leverage, I have equity, and now it's time to break some doors and kick some ass.
Okay, I love it. So we started in 2010 with the condo. Yeah. And now, as you said, we're 2024 and we're going to 10x it. So in this 14-year time span, you've done hundreds of transactions. You've also built a fabulous, I was going to say, side business in which you produce a lot of content to inspire people, to give tips on how to best sell a home, and so on and so forth. And I highly encourage everyone to go check out Chris's YouTube channel. There's a lot of very useful videos over there. Now, I want to dig into what you just said of in 2024, we're going to 10x it. When we just, before starting to record, we were talking about, what we're doing, and we both had a shift. And I want to really focus on yours because now you want to look at things differently and shift your activity. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, definitely. Is that for the past 14 years? No, let me rephrase. When I was young, I grew up with the worst, not the worst, but not the best influences I could have. Okay. But because for sure your environment have a huge impact on the way you're going to perceive life. So I grew up around drug dealers, pimps, the hip hop culture, but on the wrong side of it, like the big car, the big house, the girls and stuff like that. And through that, it got me to the focus that I got into the making money mindset. I wanted to learn how to make money. I wanted to have big money. And I realized like last year that I learned all that in a legit kind of way. I help families with real estate, this and that, to invest, and which it's a passion for me to not only help people get their first places or buying homes, but what I really love is the people that 10x the opportunity that they have. They buy whatever their finances going to help them get. But when I see them that we have like an action plan and they put it together and they call me like a couple of years after to, hey, Chris, I have equity. What's next? And then boom. And then to the second, third house. I love that. But it got me to the level that I realized that, okay, from when I was young, I wanted to learn to make money. I hustled to make money. And I came to, at 41 years old, like I learned all that. I learned how to make money. But now I realized that, okay, at 41, the next 10 years going to come super fast. But, okay, I learned how to make money, but where all that money went? Okay, that money's there and this and that. But what if I had focused myself on not only making money, but on
building wealth,
accumulate properties or things that can create even more wealth, that could create even more leverage. Where would be now if I would have purchases all those things, accumulate those properties?
And you touch on a very good point. We've had this conversation sometimes with my wife to say, like, a lot of people don't realize how there's actually a lot of broke doctors. Right. And they say, no, but how is that possible? They make so much money. It's like, yeah, but they spend it, they consume, and they don't invest.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily a function of how much money you make, is how much do you invest for the future. And the way I explain it to my kids is like, you're a squirrel, you know winter's coming, you can eat now, but you can also put some of those nuts away because in February you can't go outside and get nuts. And so how much do you invest? And so I love it that, you say, oh, I had a shift of like, now instead of making money and spending it now, I want to me, it's like storing it for the future.
Exactly.
It's throwing it forward to let it grow for me later, for my kids later, to have a different lifestyle. Now, with the years of experience that you have and the network that you've built, what actions are you taking to shift that focus from less transactional to more you being the investor?
But that's everything's happened for a reason. So, like you just said, the network, I came to the realization that with the network that I built, the audience that I created that keeps on growing, and the knowledge that I have, it would be so much waste to not try to fit all of that together and do projects but not only do projects, but do more like you to be involved in those projects. So that's what I'm doing now. So my next step right now, what I'm doing is building I call that the Avengers team. Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
So to have everybody at the right department with not only the department, but I believe like Avengers, like superheroes, we all have superpowers. Yeah. You have something that you're good at, that it's already inside of you, that your wife comes and complement that with the partners that you're going to have. Yeah. So right now I'm putting the team together, and the next thing will be to have a couple. Well, not to have a couple, because as a real estate broker, one of the job, but the main priority that we have is to develop, is to go and prospect, which in any way or any shape or form, you have to prospect every day to get the next client, to get the next deal, to hustle, to have something in your pipeline. So, and I'm shifting into, okay, because for sure since the pandemic, I stopped doing prospection. But now I'm going to go back to it, not only to prospect, to have deal, to have listings or buyers and stuff like that, but to have deal that I can keep and use them as project to build my track record and to 10x from there.
Absolutely. And that's a great idea, because when we think about it, you already prospect.
Exactly.
Is that maybe you can keep 1 out of 5 deals that you see go in front of you. You already have the network. You already have the team. And I'm sure that the minute you're going to go out and say, hey, I'm working on this opportunity, who would like to come on board with me? People will line up, and you will be surprised by how much equity capital human capital and social capital is what I meant to say, that you've built, where all you need to say is, hey, I have this deal. People will come with you. And I can't wait for you to start, because I think you're going to be surprised by your results.
Thanks, man. And I'm going to stick by you, by the way, because I love your energy. I love your knowledge. I love what you're doing with your podcast and YouTube channel. And one other shift that happened in 2023 is that I started to do more networking, to go at networking events and all those stuff. And if there's a tip that the people that are listening to your show should really act upon, is go to networking events. Even if you don't feel like it, you don't want to go, because what happened to me, it opened my eyes to all the possibilities and opportunities that there are out there. Because while all the interest rates was going up and people were scared, people on TikTok saying, no, you don't buy now, wait until everything falls down. You know what? When you go to networking events and you go talk to people that are doing big stuff, they have a total different mindset. Yeah. They are doing stuff while everybody's scared, but they're taking actions. Yeah. They are in projects. They are moving money around. They're doing big deals. And I was like, you know what? Okay, so no, networking. And I want to create those 2 networking events like you do. And I hope we can partner up and do some stuff like that.
I'd love to. I'll definitely, next time I'm organizing something, I really hope you're going to attend. 22 and 2023 were a fabulous time of opportunity. For
sure.
And some chose to stay on the sideline. That's too bad for them. Yet, going back to, I just want to go back. You said go to networking events. There's one thing I realized, like, I like to organize events because I gather people and I love to get people together. But I tried now to go to events where I hope I'll be the dumbest person in the room. Because then you're like, oh my God, all these people are so intimidating. Listen to everything they're doing. See what they're saying. See who's talking to who. And if you see everybody going to go talk to that single person, even if you don't know who it is, just go introduce yourself and say, hi, my name is so-and-so. So glad to meet you. What do you do? Be the dumbest person in the room. Time. It's so good, because then I know for me, I always feel like then I leave an event like that and I'm like, whoa, this was a bit of a shock. And when I have that feeling, I know I was in the right place, right? Because it pushed me out of the comfort zone. Big time. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Definitely. And you know what? Because you're creating content, I create content also. I realized that when you're the smartest person in the room, or you're around people that keep saying, "Oh, what you do is super good, blah blah blah, this and that." How can you grow from that? Compared to when somebody tell me not a negative comment, but a positive, like, "Oh, you should do this, or you should change that, or I suggest this, I suggest that." Instead of seeing it as it's gonna hurt my feelings, no, I use that. Okay, now that's giving me tips that I can use and level up and grow from there. Same thing when you go to a place and you're not the smartest people in the person in the room. Oh my God, I go back to my place. I mean, not even I go back in my car
and you take notes,
right?
Like, I can't forget what he said,
and just the energy is like, oh my gosh, I have trouble sleeping, and I can't wait to get to the next day to go and go kick some more ass.
And the thing is that we have, I was going to say, as humans, I think we have the natural tendency to get complacent and to say, yeah, but I did great because I did, I don't know, so many transactions this year, or I did this and that. And then you go to an event and you're talking to a guy who is in the process of doing 4 different projects, developing 600 units. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. I need to push myself more. And that feeling and uncertainty must be translated into motivation.
That's it.
Because that's when you get your magic kick in the butt that you need to get out there and do it.
And you know what's sad is because when you get complacent, sometimes you don't even know that you're in that spot.
Yeah.
And that's where going to networking events, not only following, but having conversation with people that are ahead of you helps to break that cycle and to move forward and to go into the mode where you go out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And we were talking a little bit about that before. And so you said that this year you really want to shift your focus and keeping more deals for you. That's a fabulous way, as we said, to build wealth. And I just want to go back because you described a little bit at the beginning, like some of the influences that you were young, where I don't know for you, but for me as a family, we never talked about building wealth is important. It wasn't even a topic. It didn't occur. As adults, then we realized like how that impacted us. And now look at us. We said we're both 41 years old and we're like, oh, now we want to do this.
Yeah.
And so what change does that have for you? Because you have kids as well. Do you talk to them about the importance of saving money, investing? How does that work?
First of all, I think that it comes with phases because we are going to different season at different time in our life.
Very well said.
So when I was young, I was in a different. There's a season to earn, there's a season to learn, and there's a season to save money. There's a season now you have to invest and get your skin in the game. But with my kids, it's funny because my daughter she's gonna turn 18 in 2 weeks. And my son, there's a 10-year gap. Okay. So my son is still like playing video games and
He's
stuff.
He's still innocent.
Exactly. But my daughter, she doesn't listen to me.
Of course.
But she doesn't think that I'm cool. For her, I'm too old, blah, blah, blah. As soon as I try to spit some knowledge to her, she's blocked herself. Yeah. And I even ask her the funny questions. I ask her like, at what point did you stop listening to me? Yeah. And she's like, oh, from the beginning.
I never did.
Exactly. So, but you know what? Instead of being frustrated and see it like, okay, no, I have to coach her, I have to mentor her and stuff like that. You know what I said to myself? I'm going to create even more content. I'm going to create content as a legacy that if I die tomorrow, at least you're going to have that she could go and watch back, learn from that. So that's why even I want to create even more content about finances, not only real estate investing, but money, mindset, and
just growth and sharing your journey, because we all have this like imposter syndrome. We're like, who am I to talk about this? But all you need to do is be genuine, share what you're going through. And it's amazing how people relate to it because they're going through the same thing. Exactly. They're just not telling you.
And it's funny because there's a saying that says that everybody else is just self-pushed out, but at a different level.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot to be said about that. Now, as we finish,
yes,
Chris, thank you very much. Now, for all those who are interested in getting in touch with you or following your channel, how can they do so?
Super simple. Immobilier 101 avec Christopher Salador on YouTube. Because of you, I'm going to start my podcast. I'm going to take all the audio, put it in in a podcast around the same name. But to follow me, super simple. Better Call Chris or Christopher Salador.
I love this name, Better Call Chris. I think it's so good, man. Congrats. I'm sure it's earned you a lot of money, and I really wish it continues. So if you have any questions, Better Call Chris.
Yes.
Thank you for following. Again, share this episode with a friend. Subscribe. Like, share, send me some questions and some feedback. I'm in the process of planning all of Q1 for 2024, and I want to find topics that you care about. So let me know. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week. Ciao.
Hey, dites-moi, comment vous avez trouvé l'entrevue? Juste en passant, j'ai passé en entrevue en français à Axel. Alors, ça va sortir bientôt. En même temps, dites-moi comment vous avez trouvé le podcast. Parce que là, c'était moi qui se faisais passer en entrevue. Alors, dites-moi dans les commentaires comment vous avez trouvé le podcast, comment vous avez trouvé la vidéo, comment vous avez trouvé Axel aussi. Si vous avez aimé, mettez 3 thumbs up dans les commentaires ou, encore plus simple que ça, Better Call Chris. Pendant que vous y êtes, pendant que vous y êtes, si vous aimez qu'est-ce que je fais, si vous aimez ce genre de contenu-là, encore une fois, abonnez-vous, inscrivez-vous à ma chaîne parce que c'est la meilleure façon que justement l'algorithme, que vous pouvez me remercier et que l'algorithme va me proposer au plus de personnes possible pour que justement on puisse répandre la bonne nouvelle, partager de l'information pertinente, intéressante qui permette aux gens, à des personnes comme vous, de passer à 10 niveaux plus haut. Et si vous désirez en savoir plus sur l'immobilier, c'est vraiment simple. Je vous suggère de regarder une de ces 2 vidéos-là.